Today we got a story of an entitled kid who kind of like breaks down but gets absolutely roasted, and it's pretty great. So sit back, relax, grab something to drink, grab something to eat, and yeah, let's get right into it. So the subscriber who sent in today's story, and you can send in stories to my Instagram in the description. The subscriber who sent in today's story, we're gonna call him Ryan, right? We're gonna call this guy Ryan. And we're also going to call the spoiled kid, who you guys will be introduced to in just a second, we're going to call him Austin. And these were not names suggested, which I do use suggested names. These are just the names of the other two big Storytime channels I happen to watch, which Austin being Luna and Ryan being Scrubby. So just a little minor shout out to both of those guys. I take a lot of inspiration. I've been watching at least Luna since I was in since 2017, dude. Anyways, right, so let me set the scene. Let me paint the picture for you guys. Oh, yeah. No, but anyways, right, summertime, and, Ryan's, he's excited, man. He's out of school, and, he's going to see all of his new friends. And, it's a typical summer, they'll go chill, I don't know, hike, bike ride, I don't know, go to the beach. I don't think they were near a beach, but go out, get some ice cream, go see some movies. I just generally have a pretty good time, you know what I mean? So it's summertime, everyone's pretty excited. And also there's a new kid who moved in a couple weeks ago. And Ryan's mom, one day when Ryan came downstairs, she's like, hey, Ryan, there's this new kid. I think his name's Austin. I don't really know. He's new here. It would be really cool if you and your friends, invited him out to whatever you're doing tonight. And at first, Ryan's like, Mom, I don't. And she's like, hey, I'm sure that if you moved in somewhere new, you'd want, people to invite you to do something because he probably doesn't have any friends because he's new here. And, Ryan was like, oh, come on, man. But then, she's like, okay, you know what? Fair enough. Maybe this will be a cool kid, maybe we'll like him. Or maybe he'll be actually insane, but we'll get to that in a second. So anyways, right, Ryan, calls up his friends. It's like, hey, there's a new kid named Austin. My mom wants him to, us to invite him to whatever we're doing. Is that chill with you guys? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. So Ryan's mom gives Ryan Austin's number, and Austin sends him a text saying, hey, my name's Ryan. I heard you're new to the neighborhood. I was wondering if you wanted to go out to the movies with my friends and I tonight. We're seeing insert name of movie, right, that was popular. We'll be going at 7. It's only a 15-minute drive. So have your mom drop you off at 6:45 at my house, and he gives his address if you'd like to come. And so Ryan sends that text, and part of him is like, you know what, I kind of don't want Austin to respond, bro, because, I don't know, it's always good to be, inclusive and nice to the new person who moves in or the new person to your school, but, bro, I'm a man who likes his routine. Anything new is scary. No, but it's always good, but, I can understand, bro's just trying to chill with his friends, but fair enough. Anyways, right, after a couple hours, Austin does respond to Ryan, and he's like, hey, that sounds cool, thanks for inviting me out, I'll definitely be there. So Ryan's like, all right, well, we'll see how this kid is, right? So anyways, all of Ryan's friends get to, Ryan's house at probably 6:15 just to chill with them for a little bit. And, Ryan's mom's going to take them out to the movies at 6:45, and they're waiting there. And, at around 6:43, 6:44, this car pulls up into the parking lot. They all notice it's a very nice car. Ryan lives in a decently, pretty standard middle class I can't speak, dude. Blue collar neighborhood. It's kind of just everyone's doing all right, but no one's got anything too crazy. But yeah, this kid's car was one of those really nice Mercedes cars, one of those really, really nice ones. I don't think it was the $300,000 one, but it was at least $50K or up for a car, which is kind of crazy. And they were all oh shoot, okay, that's interesting. I didn't, okay. Nice car, whatever. And, at first Ryan was a little bit oh, I wonder if this kid's gonna suck. But then he, kind of caught himself. He's like, hey, man, this kid could be really cool. I got other friends that their parents are doing pretty well. And, they're cool. No reason to think off the bat this kid's gonna be insane. Ryan should have just trusted his gut here. I think I've said this, so many times on the channel. But, look, we've evolved for thousands of years. And this whole, instinct thing that we have, this has also evolved with us for thousands of years. Yet, we can't always rationalize it, but there's been so many times where I've just had, the instincts to do something, and I haven't been able to justify it, but I do it, and it makes sense. It works out. Anyways, right, so Austin gets out of the car, Austin's mom, kind of rolls down her window because, like, Ryan and his friends come out, as well as Ryan's mom, because Ryan's mom wants to go meet Austin's mom, and Austin's mom is, like, in this, like, really, like, fancy outfit or whatever, and she's got these, like, designer shades on, but she seems pretty nice. She's like, oh, thank you so much, like, for having your son invite, Austin out. Like, he's new, and, he was worried about, like, not being able to find anyone to hang out with, and this is just such a blessing. Thank you guys so much. Just, standard stuff like that or whatever. So Austin, like, he walks out and he goes up to the guys. He's like, hey guys, my name's Austin. Nice to meet you. And at first Ryan was like, oh, this kid seems fine. Like, he seems chill enough. He's cool enough, like, whatever. And Austin's like, yeah, are you excited to see X movie or whatever? And, Austin's like, yeah, actually, I've been wanting to see it I've been excited for its release, and I've been trying to find a time to see it, so it worked out really well. And, they're all excited, and everything at this moment is pretty normal. Life is good. Anyways, right, so when they get to the movie theater, they go in line, and they kind of, like, they're ready to, like, get some food or whatever. And, they're in line, and they're looking at the options. And, Austin says, hey, thank you guys so much for taking me out. This one can be on me. They're all like, oh, like, you don't have to do that. He says, no, let me do that. Like, he's starting to get a little bit defensive. Like, no, guys, I got you. And they're all like, oh, okay. So what he does is he pulls out this black American Express card. And if you don't know, right, that is, like, the hardest card to get. Like, you need to have at least, like, you need to be trading, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars of, like, expenses on that card to even be, like, for them to reach out to you. So everyone, like, no one really recognized the card, but Ryan knew at least that, like, the Black Centurion card was, like, a really big deal. He's like, oh shoot, like, okay, like, damn, that's kind of crazy, right? And then, Austin goes up. He's like, yeah, I would like to get, and there were 6 kids with them, 6 large popcorns. And they're all like, hey, like, normally they're, like, sharing a large popcorn between the 6 of them. They're like, oh, okay. Because, I don't know, they probably had, like, $20 from Low and Mons or something. Mowing lawns, bro. I just said that. Mowing lawns. I actually think dude, I think there's something wrong with me. What? So anyways, right, everyone is, like, kind of, like, buoying up. They're, like, buoying him out. But, dude, I don't know what's wrong with me. Everyone's, like, buoying him up and be like, hey, like, appreciate it. Like, yeah, like, kind of like, this is my new guy, right? And, Austin's, like, feeling good. He's smiling. He's talking to all of them, right? So they get into the movie theater, and they all sit down. Anyways, right, this is when things start to go downhill. At this point, Ryan had kind of, like, opened up to Austin. He's like, hey, you know what? This kid's cool. Like, whatever. And, they're sitting down, and, there's some people in front of them. And the people in front of them, it's like, a big family, and they're, like, kind of loud and kind of, like, it wasn't, like, the greatest environment. But Austin makes this comment where he's like, oh, I hate it when there's so many poor people in here. And at this point, everyone's like, hey, yo, like, oh, hold up. This kid was cool a second ago. Yeah, and they're all like, no one really says anything at first. They're like, yeah. At this point, like, I was about to call him Scrubby. No, it's not Scrub. Ryan, right? So Ryan in his head is like, I knew it. I freaking knew it, dude. Like, I knew it. This kid's the worst. And they're all just sitting there like, okay, maybe that was just, like, a joke. Maybe it was, like, satire. Maybe it was, like, a funny meme that no one was actually thought was funny, but he thought was funny. And, the movie goes on. And then when the kid starts crying in front of them, it's, like, a pretty big family or whatever. And, like, when the kid's crying, so the mom goes over. And at this point, like, Ryan looks over at Austin, and Austin is, like, starting to get really annoyed. And, Austin, he's, like, getting mad, angrier and angrier and angrier, and everyone's just like, oh, no. Like, Ryan and his friends were kind of looking around because, like, they saw, like, his face was, like, starting to all, like, scrunch up. And he gets up, he leans down, and he, like, looks at the mother and says, I'll pay you guys $1,000 each to F off. And at this point, Ryan's like, bro, whoa, that's not cool, dude. You can't just go up to someone and say, I'll pay you $1,000 to get... I mean, you could, and, like, if I'm being honest, if I was that family, I would accept. Speaking of spoiled, today's special word is spoiled, so if you made it this far into the video, comment spoiled down below. I'll be trying to heart as many of those comments as I can. And also, if you really do want to heart, you have to say spoiled, because I've been getting a lot of comments recently, which is awesome, and I really do appreciate you guys doing that. But because I've gotten so many comments, I've been filtering comments by, like, looking for the specific word and just hearting those ones. So make sure to comment spoiled. I also can't heart every single one because there's a lot of comments, but I'll do my best. Also, special awesome deal from me. I'm feeling super generous today. Leave a like on the video right now and you will actually receive nothing. I know, it's kind of crazy. And also, we've gotten like 10,000 new subscribers in the last week, which is just absolutely crazy, especially, the channel was not doing so hot not so long ago. So if you guys are new or old or anything, I'm going to be posting at least 1 or 2 times every single day from here on out. So make sure to turn on those notifications, and maybe I can be a part of your daily routine. I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. Anyways, back to the story, because this is where things get pretty crazy. Anyways, right, at this point, Ryan and his friends let the comment of like, oh, so like, it sucks we have to be weird near poor people. Like, that was super out of pocket, but they let that slide, dude. They thought it was just a joke that they didn't understand. Maybe they don't get this kid's humor, but this comment, right, this was like way too much, right? You can't go up to someone. I mean, you can do what you want, bro, but like, it's definitely like not cool to like try and like buy someone. I'll be like, you're so gross or whatever. Get out of here. I'll pay you money or something. So at this point, Ryan's like, hey, bro, like, that's not cool. You can't be doing that. And then like, this is when Austin like turns around and the once friendly look in his eyes is completely gone. And he's like, what did you say? At this point, Ryan he stepped back for a second. He's like, whoa, like he kind of expected like Austin to be like, oh yeah, whatever, bro. But Austin was like, what did you say? And the rest of Ryan's friends kind of like get, behind Ryan, not like cowardly, like crouching behind Ryan out of fear, but kind of like standing with him, like kind of in line, like kind of in his like support or whatever. At this point, right, Austin, he completely loses it. He goes off. He's like, I could buy you, kid, and I could buy you, and I could buy your crappy house. I could probably buy your entire town. This movie theater, you see it right here? I could probably buy this. I could probably buy the rights to the movie right now. I could probably buy the family in front of me. In fact, they're probably going to leave because I'll pay them off. I can do whatever I want, and no one's going to tell me otherwise. Get it? At this point, Ryan's jaws is like dehinged. It just mouth open, like, what? Yeah, so let me just say that the rest of that movie was incredibly awkward. Like, they were all just sitting there and they just don't say anything. And, they're just like, oh my God, this kid's insane. So yeah, eventually the movie ends and, Austin and Ryan and all the friends, they walk out. And Austin's like talking with them like nothing happened. Talking with them like literally nothing had just transpired. Like that he didn't just do any of the things he did. And, Ryan and his friends are kind of like, they're keeping conversation just so it doesn't get so incredibly awkward, right? But, yeah, eventually Ryan's mom comes and picks them up and, drops them off at the house. And then Austin's mom comes and picks Austin up and it's like, oh, thank you so much for taking Austin out. I'm sure he'd love to hang out with you guys more. Please make sure to keep him involved in the loop or whatever. And in Ryan's mind, he's just like, nah, that's just not happening, bro. Unlucky. So anyways, right, when everyone gets picked up and everything, Ryan's mom's like, oh, how's Austin? And Ryan just looks at his mom with this look. And she knew that she was about to be in for a story. So then Ryan goes ahead and tells her the story that I basically just told you guys. And by the end of it, Ryan's mom's jaw was also just like down. It was unhinged. She was just like, what? So yeah, Ryan's mom is like, yeah, okay, you know what? You don't have to actually invite him out to anything. That is totally fine. And for the rest of the summer, Ryan did not invite him out. And he also never saw him. They kind of think that, this guy Austin just, stayed in his house and like, I don't even know what he did, but just never left the house. Ryan did also add that thankfully Austin did not go to his school because Austin went to some, private education school that was nearby because he would have had probably a lot more stories, quote unquote, and probably would have been forced to be his friend if, he actually ended up being at the school. So it all worked out at the end of the day. Subscribe if you haven't already. Now go watch another video. If you want to make me happy, click on one of those videos, please. Dude, please. I'll cry.